Hello, this video will review for faculty how to create videos and use content quizzes in YuJa. Videos can be created and used inside or outside of Brightspace by D2L. If you are using videos outside of D2L, you want to make sure to log in to gordonstate.yuja.com using the single sign-on link and log in with your Gordon email username and password. Content quizzes can also be created in the video. The options are multiple choice, true, false, multiple select, fill in the blank, and short answer. All but the short answer are auto-graded. The short answer is not auto-graded. So if a quiz only has auto-graded questions, the grade will automatically sync to the D2L gradebook once the student submits. If there is a short answer which isn't auto-graded, the instructor does have to manually grade it in the YuJa Gradebook and choose for the grades to sync over to the D2L Gradebook. If you're using YuJa outside of D2L, you would just want to navigate to the link and over in the corner, choose Gordon State College Single Sign-On and log in with your Gordon email username and password. If you're using YuJa inside of Brightspace by D2L, you'd want to navigate to your course, choose Tools and Resources, and then YuJa Media Library. From there, you're going to open up your media library, which is where all your videos will be linked. Here you can see that I have several videos either created myself or pulled in from YouTube. So in this case, I'm actually going to want to create my own video. So here I'm going to choose Create Recording. From here I can choose the two different types of recorders. You have the downloaded recorder, which is fully featured, but then you also have the browser capture recorder, which is less fully featured but easier to use because it just opens up in a browser. It does not require a download. This one, the fully featured one, does actually require a full download. So just for the purpose of making this video, I'm just going to use the browser capture, which is a light version, but it still pretty much covers everything that you would want to do or need to do. I'll then give my recording a title, and then I'll choose Start. Now it's going to open up the Browser Capture Studio, and keep in mind this is using the browser, which is the light version. If you had selected the other, it would prompt you to download and it would open up as an application on your computer. So I'm going to go ahead and allow for it to pull my camera and pull my microphone so that I can use this when doing my recording. So over on the side, you have different options for your recording. You have the ability to record your camera, which is just your webcam, a recording of yourself. You have the ability to record just your screen. So in that case, I want to make sure to select the screen I would like to record. I have multiple screens on this particular computer, so I can allow for it to record my screen, or I can actually choose to record both. And so in that case, it's going to record me as a thread or as a stream option, and then it's going to record my actual screen, which can be whatever I pulled up on that screen, as a second stream. So for the purposes of this, I'm going to record both so that you can see it. Next, I want to make sure that I have selected my audio, that audio is on, and I want to make sure that I'm picking the microphone that I would like to use. It is preferred that if you have a headset with a microphone on it, which is what I'm using, it will probably give you better audio quality. If not, you can use your webcam to do a recording, but just make sure that you have the correct one picked. Same thing with your video option. Some of you may have multiple video inputs, maybe an external webcam or an internal webcam. You just want to pick the one that you want to use there. So once we have this ready, we're going to choose to start recording. Alright, so I've started my recording. So this particular screen is just, I've pulled up a PowerPoint, so I can choose to start it from beginning, and then it's just going to show my PowerPoint, and I would just talk through it very much like a voiceover PowerPoint, go through my different slides. Notice here that it's counting the video. It's showing how long I've recorded. Now in the browser version of the capture, it does not have a pause button. Just keep in mind that when you press this, it's actually going to end the recording for you. So often what you might do if you're using the browser recorder is, if you do mess up, or you know that you're going to want to cut something out of the video because you can't actually edit it in a little bit, you might just pause and stop talking for a second, and then you'll be able to find that in your video editor and then just trim that part out. So I have recorded on top of this PowerPoint, but keep in mind I can record on top of multiple things. Anything that is on your screen will be recorded, and you can also see here actually on the recorder that it's showing it. So I can pull up a web page, a Word document, a PDF, a PowerPoint, a specialized software maybe that I want to show the students how to use. So anything that I pull up here and walk myself through is going to be recorded in my video. So when I'm finished recording, I'm just going to press End Recording, and it's going to allow me to see it, and then I'm going to choose to upload it into my YuJa media library. I do want to wait until it gets fully across here with the blue, so it tells me that my upload is finished, and there I can exit out of this browser and return to my main media library. Notice that it is doing the recording and it is processing it. It does take a couple of minutes to do that, so you may want to go and do something else or edit another one of your videos, but it does take just a couple of minutes for it to actually record into the in your YuJa media library. So while we're waiting for that one, I'll go ahead and create a new recording, and I'll just do this one as a one screen so that you can kind of see what it looks like if you only have one screen and you're doing a recording. It does look a little bit different than if you have multiple screens. So this is all the same. I'm choosing my camera, I'm choosing my screen, I'm choosing both, I'm allowing for the different options. So in this case, I'm going to pick the actual screen that I'm currently using so that you'll be able to see how that looks. So I'm going to pick screen 1 here. So notice when I'm recording on top of the screen that I'm actually have YuJa pulled up on, which is going to be typical if you have a one screen computer, like if you're just using a laptop or something. You're going to see this, and this lets you know that you are sharing your screen. You kind of have a screen within a screen within a screen within a screen. And so that lets you know that you are sharing your screen. So at that point, I would choose to start recording. And I'm seeing again a screen within a screen within a screen, which is fine. Now I'm doing my recording, and then I would just open up on my computer whatever I want to share my screen. So as I'm recording in this regard, I'm only seeing my screen that I'm recording on. I'm not actually seeing my own webcam or seeing my own recording because I'm just on that one screen. So then once I'm done, I can just minimize that, and then I would stop the recording. So we'll see in the playback how it kind of looks, and you'll be able to see that while I didn't see it while I was recording, at some point it was actually just recording my screen. So when you see that screen within screen within screen within screen, when you're sharing your screen on just one particular, if you only have a one screen device, that is the correct view that you are wanting to see. So I'll choose to upload this one just so that you can see the process again. It's going to upload very quickly, but it does take a little bit longer to actually process in YuJa. So both of those are processing. Once they get done processing, you have the ability to edit the video as well as see different options here to add a playback quiz or add a content quiz or all of those different things. If you hover over one of the tiles of your video, you'll see that once it has finished producing, you have a lot more options versus while it's processing, you see you don't have nearly as many. So once it's finished processing, you'll see the thumbnail, and you can actually go in there and do your different components of your video. So let's say that we wanted to trim our video. There were parts of our recording that we wanted to cut out. So you can do that under Edit. When you choose Edit, it's actually going to open the video editor, and here we can do our trimming, and we can do a couple of extra things within our video that we just recorded. So if you notice here, we actually have 3 streams going. We have our webcam recording, we have our screen recording, and we have our audio recording, which that's what those blue lines are, is my voice actually speaking on the recorder. If we had only used one stream, maybe we only recorded the screen and didn't record our video, then we would only see 2 of those here. So say that we wanted to trim our video. So like right here, if you notice, there's not a lot of there's not a lot of speaking going on because there is no voice lines here. So maybe I wanted to cut that part of the video out. So I would move my playhead to that area. I would choose the trim button here, the cut feature, and then I would just pull it out, and whatever is in gray is going to be the part that's cut out of the video once I save it. I might want to cut a different section, so I may want to also cut this. So I could choose that, cut, slide it over, and then both of these sections would be cut out. So that's a common thing that you would probably do in your videos. Another common thing that you may consider is adding in indexes. So we'll choose this area here. Now keep in mind it does have to be put on advanced mode. If it's not on advanced mode, you're not going to see those other options here on the side. So we'll slide advanced mode on and then choose the indexes. And this is almost like bookmarks to where after the student watches the video, they might choose to rewatch the video and jump to specific parts of the video just to kind of review. So that may be helpful for them to have those bookmarks. So we would come here and we would just place our cursor where we would like for the index to be added, and then we would choose add an index, and then I can title that index. So I might say intro to YuJa here, and then I would maybe move my cursor to another slide or another area of the video and say, okay, well at this point I would like to add an index, and here we're going to be looking at X, Y, and Z. A great example of this is if you're making a video and you're talking about different topics. You might have a topic area for, if you're, for example, talking about the anatomy of the body in one particular video, and you talk about the heart at a particular section, the lungs at a particular section, the intestines at a particular section, you might have different parts of it. Or if you're doing kind of a book review and you're talking about the characters and the plot and then the theme, you might add indexes to where you're talking about those particular subtopics within your video so that the student can jump to just those particular parts of the video. Under captions, you have the ability to add in your own captions, but keep in mind that by default, all of your videos that you create will be auto-captioned by YuJa, and you will actually get an email from YuJa saying when those captions have been produced and auto-created for you. You can go back in and edit them if you want to, but you probably don't want to or need to create your own captions. So there's other options here, but for the most part, you're just going to trim your video and add in those indexes if you want. Then we're going to save. And then notice we can rename this video. By default, it's going to name it the title and then edited at the end so that it does give it a different name, which is very helpful to know that this was the video that was edited. You can choose to replace it, so the original video will get overwritten by this edit, or you can choose to save it as a new video. I would encourage you to save it as a new video with edited on the end, just in case you do ever need to revert back or edit the original again. So I'm going to leave it with edited at the end and save as a new video. So as I do that, it's actually going to have to reproduce the video, so it will take a second for those for it to process and that to take effect. But as I return to the media library, notice that I have my edited video with edited on the end being produced, and I still have my original available. So now before we start talking about quizzes, let's look at a couple of more settings here. So to get to more of the settings other than these quick links, we can choose more. And then over on the side, once it has fully produced, we have some additional information. So we can rename the video if we want to. We can actually link documents to this video, such as the native PowerPoint itself. If we want that to be connected to the video, I can actually add it as a document. Under thumbnails, I can pick the thumbnail I would like to be as part of the thumbnail for my video, or I could actually upload a custom one if I want. Under actions, the main thing that you would do here is you can choose to move the media to a particular folder. You can also choose to duplicate that media, which is just making an exact copy of it. Maybe if you want to do an edit on it, or you would like to add a different quiz to a certain video but don't want to edit the video itself, you have that option. And then you have links. Now the links this is going to be the outside link that you would use if you're using YuJa in the videos outside of Brightspace by D2L. So this is going to give you the direct link to the video. Now if you add in quizzes, you're going to actually get a separate link for those quizzes, so that if you use the quiz link, it's going to give them the video with the quiz embedded in. Under links, you're just going to get the native link without the quiz embedded in. So that's available to you, as well as you can always download the video mainly as an MP4 so that you can have access to it offline. You can choose to add in the ability to add in comments to your video. You can have it to where everyone can see the comments and everyone can make the comments. If you don't want comments on your video, the students to add comments or you to add comments, you can just change both of them to content owner only, and then you just yourself, who's the content owner, not make any comments, and you can't and no one can see them or make them. So that may help as well, or you can just totally disable the commenting ability. Analytics is where you're going to be able to see who has watched your video. This is where you're going to get the data, and again, this is going to be data available whether or not you have a quiz built into the video or not. It's just whether they're using the direct link to the video or if they are using it built into D2L, you're going to be able to see how much of the video each person has watched. And then we have the quizzes feature, which we're going to go to in a second. We have two types of quizzes we can make. We can make the content quiz and we can make a playback quiz. We can actually make one of each for a particular video. In most cases, you're probably just going to have one or the other. The content video quiz, labeled as create video quiz, that's going to be where you actually add in real questions, multiple choice, true, false, that type of thing. The playback quiz is going to be the one where they are getting a grade based upon the percentage of the video that they have watched. And then lastly, we have the accessibility where we can edit or look at our captioning. So for right now, we're just going to close this because that was just a general overview of the extra options. Now let's create a content quiz. So first, in our media library, we're going to hover over the thumbnail and we're going to choose More, and then we're going to go to the Quizzes tab. Notice there's already a quiz set up for this, but luckily I made sure to name it Playback Quiz, so I know that it is a playback quiz. And remember, there are two types of quizzes you can set up in YuJa: the playback quiz and what is called the video quiz, but that's what I refer to as the content video quiz. So the quiz that has content related questions. The playback quiz is, it doesn't have questions and it just tracks the amount of the video the student has watched, and it actually publishes a grade based upon that into the D2L Gradebook. But for each video, you can have both types of quizzes or either or. So in this case, we're going to create a content quiz separate from, but in addition to, our playback quiz. So I'll choose to create a video quiz, which is the first option, which is the content quiz. Then we're going to give our quiz a name. I highly encourage you to name it the name of the video with content quiz on the end, because as we just saw earlier, it's a good idea to have them distinguished in the name, whether it's a playback quiz or a content quiz, for your own sake. So now we're going to start playing our video, and then we'll be able to add in our questions. So I'll choose add question, and then I have my different question choices. So we'll add in just a regular multiple choice right now. We'll add in the question, and then our answer choices will mark our correct answer choice. Now what I can also do is give a hint. So if I wanted to give something extra to help the student figure out the correct answer, I could. If not, I can just leave that blank. Then I can also adjust the point value. By default, the point value is just going to be 1, but you can adjust that per question. So we'll save that in, and then we could just continue playing our video, and once our playhead gets to a different point, I can choose to add in an additional question. So in this case, we'll choose a select multiple, or if there's more than one correct answer, select all that apply, and we'll do the same thing. Add in our quiz question, add in our answer choices, but in this case, we're going to mark more than one possible answer choice. Same thing here, I've marked the correct answers. I can choose to add in a hint if I want to, as well as I can adjust the point value. So I'll save that in, then again I'll move to another part of the video and add in potentially a different question. In this case, we'll do a fill in the blank question. So we'll choose add question, fill in the blank. And this can be a little bit tricky with setup, but first you want to add in your question here. You can leave a hint if you want. And then when you get to the area where you would like the blank to be, you'll choose this button to add in the blank. And then you'll be able to add in the possible solutions or answer choices that will be acceptable as the student fills in that blank. So like in this example, we have the blank here, and then these are the possible answer choices that we will accept. If I want to maybe add in another one, I can add a possible answer choice and include that in. It is a good idea to leave it unchecked as case sensitive. That way they don't have to necessarily put capital letters in. We can also adjust the point value as necessary and then save it in. Now you can actually have a multiple choice question, or I'm sorry, fill in the blank question with more than one blank, and so I'll show you what that looks like. So we'll start with our first blank. So we'll say Daisy is married to blank. And then here in this first blank, I'll add in my possible answer choices. So this is similar to what we just did in the earlier question. We have the one blank and then we have the possible answer choices. Now I can actually continue on and add in another blank, so choose blank, and this gives me blank number 2. And now I can put in the answer choices for blank 2. Remember, I can add in additional answer choices or acceptable answers. Now, if I need to edit what is acceptable for either blank, I just need to make sure to change it here to blank 1 is what we're accepting for blank 1, and then blank 2, what we're accepting for blank 2. Now let's add in a reflective pause so you can see what it looks like. Keep in mind that this one is not giving the student the ability to submit any answers. It's just kind of one of those things that freezes the video, pops up and says, think about this. And then the student does have to click continue to continue on with the video, but they're not submitting or typing in any type of answer. So it might be something like, reflect on this, or what do you think when she meant this? And again, you could turn this into a short answer if you wanted them to actually submit something, but in this case, they're not going to submit something, they're just going to think about it. So we'll save that in, and then we'll go ahead and add in the last type of question, which is the short answer. And keep in mind, this is going to be the one that is not auto-graded. So if you add in any of these, that's going to make the whole quiz the one that you're going to have to manually grade the short answer and then push the grades over. The grade's not going to automatically come over at this point. So in this case, we've added in our question. We can add in a hint if we want to, and then we can adjust the point value if you want to. So we'll save that, and then I could continue on adding in questions. Remember, you have all these different types, but at this point we'll just go ahead and freeze for the moment, and we'll go ahead and edit some of our settings for our quiz, which is very important that you edit these settings before students start taking the quiz. So it can be that you save this and then later before students start adding or taking the quiz, or before you pull it into D2L, you can come back and edit these settings, but once at least one student has taken the quiz, these settings become unavailable for you to make major edits. Some of the main settings will be located here at the top under quiz options, as well as some additional settings here under the gradebook options. The first option is providing the answer right away, and that will allow YuJa to give the student the correct answer as soon as they answer and submit that question. You may want to do that so they get immediate feedback. However, if multiple students are taking the quiz, you might not want that one person to be able to see the correct answer while other ones are still taking it. One that you probably want to turn on is the disable fast forwarding, and that's going to prevent the student from scrubbing through the video and just jumping to the questions. When you're looking at the viewer analytics, it's recording it based upon the millisecond of the video. So it could be that they scrub through the video and they only get maybe a 20% view rate, and that's because it's taking into account that they didn't actually watch the video and scrub through it. So probably a good idea to turn on that disable fast forwarding. The other option is disable resubmitting of questions. You probably want to leave this one off so that there is a way that you can set it up to where they take the quiz the first time and it reports to the gradebook. But if you turn this on, potentially they cannot go back and watch the video again and answer the quiz questions just for practice. And you probably do want them to be able to go back and watch the video afterwards. If you have this turned on and there's only one submission of the quiz, when they get to that area, it will just basically say you've already taken this quiz and won't even let them watch the video. So in most cases, probably not going to turn this one on. This one would be allow video only playback when the quiz is closed. Probably will also leave this one off unless you're actually putting in the close date for the quizzes, which we'll look at in a second. Most of the time you probably won't put in close date for quizzes because you'll leave them open, especially if you plan on copying them to semesters in the future. This last one you probably won't turn on if you're making a content quiz, because this one is more for playback quizzes, because in a playback quiz you're giving them grades and credit based upon the percentage of the video that they watched. In this case, we're giving them a grade upon how they answered the content related questions. So down here at the bottom, this is how we're talking about and making decisions about what grade is going into the D2L gradebook. So the first option is recording the quiz attempts. So you can choose to record all their attempts if they're allowed multiple attempts on the quiz, or you can have it to where it only records the most recent attempt. Now this is speaking to the YuJa Gradebook, which is separate than the D2L Gradebook, and you'll get to see the YuJa Gradebook in a second. Recording only the most recent attempt is just going to overwrite, and the most recent attempt is going to be there. You could choose to record all attempts to where you can actually see how they've progressed over time. Keep in mind this is showing it in the YuJa Gradebook. When it comes over to D2L, it's only going to be the one grade. Then you can choose to allow for an unlimited attempts, and this is actually encouraged, so the student can go back and retake the quiz and watch the video multiple times after they submit the quiz. If you uncheck this and they only have one attempt, because if I uncheck this, it actually lets me put in the number of attempts I'm going to allow. Once they've reached that threshold, it's not actually going to let them watch the video because the quiz is embedded in it, and so you're kind of limiting their ability to watch the video. So in most cases, you're going to leave it on unlimited attempts, but you say, I want their true first attempt to come over to the gradebook. I don't want them to take the quiz multiple times and, learn the questions, look up the answers, and then that report over. So a way around that is to choose to send the first attempt to the LMS. So while they're going to be able to watch the video multiple times, take the quiz multiple times for practice, it's just that first time watching the video in their first attempt is going to be the one that talks to the LMS gradebook. So that might be probably the preferred settings here. Now if you want it to be for practice and you say you can take this quiz and this video as much as you want and get yourself up to a 100, then you can choose to send the most recent attempt. Or you can have it to where it'll take the average of all those attempts that they've tried and do the average score. But in this preferred setting, they're not going to be able to fast forward. They're going to be able to take the test or take the quiz embedded into the video multiple times and watch the video as many times as they want. But just that first time with the answering of the questions is going to be what comes over to the D2L Gradebook. So again, these are some very important settings and decisions you want to make before you actually pull the video into D2L and students start taking it. Because once a student starts taking the quiz, you're not going to be able to edit these settings. So we'll save that. Now we can choose to preview the video if we want to. I'm actually going to preview it as a student in just a second, so you'll get to see it live, but this is where you can see it beforehand. Then we'll save this, which is going to save our questions and our settings, and then we're going to choose to post it. So this is where that open and close date comes into play. A lot of times you're going to choose to just not have a close date, because if I put a close date for, say, August, and then I use it in the spring semester and I'm wanting my students to watch the videos in February, the quiz is going to be closed because it closed in August. So I'm going to have to remember, if I use this over future semesters, to come in and change the close date, which you may or may not want to do. You may just not put a close date on it and you don't have to worry about changing the dates. And then here you'll get a listing of all the courses that you're assigned to teach, and you'll be able to check the ones that you want to assign this video to, and you can choose multiple ones if you want. So then we'll choose to post it, and now it is ready to go. So now we're taken back to our main area. So now I want to show you how to get the video link if you plan to use it outside of D2L. So to get those links, I'm going to hover over the thumbnail, and I'm going to choose More. And then I'm going to go to Quizzes, and if I want to use this quiz outside of D2L, remember I want to choose the content quiz rather than the playback quiz, because you can have one for the video, you can have one for each video. But I'll choose this arrow and I'll see the direct link. Now this direct link is again something that I can use to give to students, or put in an email, or put on a website, or whatever, to allow them to log in and complete the quiz. Now this is going to have the quiz in it. If you only want the video without the quiz, that is actually a separate link. So you want to make sure that you're using the correct link. So under quizzes, and then the drop down under the name of the quiz, that's going to be the video with the quiz embedded in. If I just want the video without the quiz, that's actually going to be under links, and then the direct link here. So you want to be very careful as to which one you are providing. Now in most teaching situations, you're just going to pull the video right into D2L and you don't have to worry about the links. So we'll go ahead and do that. So in my D2L course, I could make a module, or just find the module where I'd like to put the video in, and then I'll choose existing activities. I'll choose YuJa Media Chooser, and then it will pull up my media library, and then I'll be able to pick my video. Now be very careful in that there is a media tab. Now this is going to be the videos without the quizzes in them. So if you notice, I do have in here a Gatsby video, which is the video without the quiz in it. That's not the one I want. So I want to make sure to not filter by the media tab, but to filter by the quizzes tab. So if I'm looking to pull in a quiz, a content quiz, or or a playback quiz, I have to filter it by the quizzes tab. So here I'm able to find the Gatsby content quiz. Again, it really will serve you well if you name the quiz the name of the video and content and or playback quiz, depending on which one you're using, and insert that content. Notice that it's going to come over as an external learning tool, so that lets you know that it is incorrectly. If you go to your grades area, you'll also notice that it automatically creates a grade item for it, and if it has auto-graded questions in it, as soon as the student takes it, it's going to come over to the D2L Gradebook. If it has short answer questions in it, which this one does, you do actually have to go in there and manually grade it to push the quizzes over. So now we'll log in as a student really quick and actually watch the video. So as the student, I'll go into my course, I'll click on the name of the quiz, and then I'll be able to watch it right within the browser. Notice that if you had actually started watching the video earlier, you're actually able to resume from where you left off. If you notice, as the student, I'm not able to click through the different components or click on the different questions to jump to those because I had, as the faculty member, disabled the fast forwarding. This is the fill in the blank where I just type in my answer, and notice it tells you how many points the question is worth. This is the one with the double fill in the blanks. Again, just worth 1 point. I type them in and save and continue on. This is the multi-select, so remember this is selecting more than one correct answer. I'm going to purposely select it as an incorrect answer and go ahead and save that. What may be important to note that is as the student answers questions, they are highlighted here in blue, and then the ones that they have not answered are here in white. Since they just saved their response, if they decide they want to change their answer, they can actually click on the question and it will open it back up. I can change my response and save. Now at that point, as I saved my correct answer, since fast forwarding is disabled, I'm not actually able to fast forward back to where I was, so I do have to actually watch the video. Up next, we have our reflective pause, which, as we talked about before, is just a statement where the students think about it, they don't submit anything, and then they just press continue, and it moves on with the video. No point value, but also nothing to submit. Since we haven't answered all of the quiz questions, notice we still have this one left to answer. I'm not able to submit my quiz, so that is a good preventative that they're not going to be able to accidentally submit their quiz until they answer all of the quiz questions because it is dithered out there. So once I answer that final question, it will actually allow me to submit my quiz. Lastly, we have the short answer question, and again, I just type in my response and save it. And as soon as I do that, I am able to submit my video. So notice that they can submit their quiz without watching the rest of the video. So it might be a good idea to put a quiz question at the very, very end of it so that the student does have to watch the entire video. So keep in mind that this is not going into the D2L Gradebook or the YuJa Gradebook until the student submits. So they are going to have to submit. Now what they can do is stop and start and answer a couple questions and come back later and then submit it once they get completely finished, but it's not going to go through to the gradebook until they actually submit. And when they do so, they're going to get a message saying that their quiz has been submitted. If it was auto-graded, they should be able to go to the D2L Gradebook and see their grade automatically push over. Not in this case because there was a short answer question. So now we're going to go back in as the faculty member and actually grade that short answer question. To get to the YuJa Gradebook, we're going to go to Tools and Resources, we're going to go to YuJa Media Library, and then we're going to be able to see our videos. To get to the gradebook, however, we're going to choose the waffle area here at the top. We're going to choose Usage and Analytics, and then over on the side here, we're going to see the gradebook. Then we'll select our class that we're wanting to look at, and then we select the quiz within the class. Again, it really helps if you've named it the name of the video and content or playback quiz. Then we can get the results. We see that one student has taken it. If it is in red, it means it was an incorrect answer. If it is in green, it is a correct answer. So we're able to see how they responded to those. Number 5 was a reflective response, so nothing to be graded there. And then this last one was the short answer response. You see it's in gray because it hasn't been graded. So I would click on this. I would be able to see the student. I would be able to see their answer. I can mark it as correct or incorrect. select and save it. It does take a second and a possible refresh of your browser for it to update the score here. Now, if you're trying to do this quickly and you have a lot of students to grade, you can actually choose this, and then you're actually to come right here and then click on the next student, and it would take you to their answer, and you could very quickly grade it and go through the short answers that way, because keeping in mind the short answers are the only ones you're going to have to manually grade. So if we notice, this gradebook grade has updated now based upon the short answer. What I can do now, since this has already been updated, is I can just go ahead and manually sync the grades over. And to do that, I would select everyone that I've graded. I would choose Sync Gradebook and then On Demand Student LMS Gradebook Sync. And that's going to force those grades over into the D2L gradebook. So if there's ever a time where you want the grades to come over right then, and you don't want to wait for the grades to manually or to automatically come over, you can do that Force Gradebook Sync. While we're here, there's some additional views that you can look at. This is going to let you see every student and then how they scored on each question. You can look at it by a student breakdown to kind of see what they're answering incorrectly and then what they're answering correctly per student. And then you can also look at the question breakdown, which kind of gives you an overview. It helps if there's more than one student that is taken the quiz, but it would show you kind of just in a bar graph format of how many are answering it incorrectly, how many are answering correctly, to kind of make decisions about the majority of the students and what maybe reteaching you would need to do. Now back in D2L, we see that grade item has come over because we manually synced the grades over. Lastly, keep in mind that while we were able to see the YuJa Gradebook here under the waffle area under User Analytics and Gradebook, you can always go back to Manage Media to see your individual videos, and then you would find your video. And under More, you would be able to see Analytics, and then you would be able to track the viewing analytics. So that is in a different area than the actual quiz grades themselves. And then under the Analytics, you're able to see the different playsbacks and summaries and technologies that were used. So that was an overview of how to create a YuJa video, pull it into D2L, as well as how to create a content quiz and do the grading for it.